Hey everybody, welcome back to FSP Forex Stock Predictions. Hope you are all doing well. I am the Vortex Trader, and today we have a potential order block on GBP USD in the 4-hour time frame. So without further ado, let's just jump right into these charts. All right, guys, so this is GU on the 4-hour time frame, and this is the order block zone that I am looking at. Now, let me explain how I got to finding this order block zone, all right? Because this is the 4-hour time frame, right? And price moves a lot more slower on the 4-hour time frame than it does on the 1-minute chart. Okay, so there is a lot of time for us to really study this chart and see whether this is a viable entry, whether it will even hit, whether price will even retrace back into this order block zone. Now, these are the things that I like to look for. There are two ways that I like to trade these order blocks. One is like this, when we see price bouncing between support and resistance, and support and resistance, right? We see some sort of structure being built, right? We have a support line, and we also then have a line of resistance up above. So we definitely have price ranging within this sort of zone, within this sort of parallel channel. We have price bouncing up and between off of these zones. What I then like to see is price impulsively break through one of these zones, either to the upside or to the downside, and then I will look for the most previous. If we were trading bearish, right, I would look for the most previous bullish candle. I would then highlight that candle from the bottom to the top, and if the impulse is strong enough, I would highlight it and extend it out, and I would then wait for price to retrace back into that zone before carrying on its journey south. Why are my arrows not working for me today? There we go. Something like this, right? In which case my entry would occur and price would continue moving south. Just like this. All right, that's one way of trading these order blocks. Another way is the continuation order blocks. If we have already broken through a range like this and we are beginning some sort of trend, we normally see price move down, right? A little bit of relief, and within that relief, it is possible to see an order block if price impulsively breaks through and carries on south. Now, within this relief zone, we have an order block because price impulsively broke through this zone, which means the order block would lie within the most previous bullish candle before the impulsive break, and I would then wait for price to come back into the order block zone just like this, and in which case my entry would be triggered and I would look for something like that. In both of these situations, in both of these circumstances, I will always look for a risk to reward of 1 to 2. That's just how I like to trade these, right? There is no wrong or right or correct way to do it. It's subjective. It's whatever works for you. Whatever you have back tested 1,000,000,000 times will be the method that works for you. There are guys that aim to get a risk to reward of 1 to 20. Right? There are guys that will always choose their targets differently. They will look for previous price structure as targets. They will change their stop loss. They will maybe trail their stops. They will take partial profits. There are different ways of doing this. But for me, I look for a standard RR of 1 to 2. This is just what I have found works best for me. All right. So notice this type of situation because that is exactly what we have over here. We had the first situation right here. The colors, guys, this just donates previous setups for me and entries and positions. The green ones are winners and the pink ones are losers. All right, I don't like to take them away off my charts because sometimes TradingView saves them and then I can't get them back. This is simply just something that I like to do so I can come back and analyze my previous positions in time. All right, so this was clearly ranging, right? We had price bouncing between resistance, support, and then we broke through. Okay, it wasn't exactly an impulsive break because it did happen within 3 candles. An impulsive break for me is generally at the most 3 candles, but I would love to see a 1 candle break. A 1 candle impulsive break is ideal. And then we would look for a retrace back up to here somewhere, but that did not happen. We carried on with a little blue candle, which occurred right there, and then we carried on and we broke through that one rather impulsively. Now this looks a lot like this, does it not? We started with a range like this, we broke through, and now we had something like this. A strong impulsive move down, a short candle, 1 candle breather, and then a move further south. We impulsively broke through, strong move down, 1 candle breather, and then we carried on south. All right, that little breather right there happened on previous support. If we just scroll left, we can see, if we extend this out, let me just do it for you guys, we can see this was an area of interest on this chart that was once resistance, flipped to support twice, right? You see that? So this, in essence, was actually an order block in itself, and it was a previous entry that I did manage to catch, with this red candle right there being the order block. And as you can see, price came right into it, wicked up nicely, and we caught an RR of 1 to 2. Now that we have broken through, that little blue candle is our order block, and we have extended out the zone from the bottommost wick of the order block candle to the topmost wick of the order block candle, extended it outwards. This is our zone. We are waiting for price to retrace back into this zone, right? I have a pending order set, and I've created an alert as soon as price pierces through the very bottom of this order block zone. I'm going to be notified, and depending on the price action, whether I like it or not, will depict if I am going to enter into this thing if it hits the halfway mark or the 50% point of this parallel channel. Now, if it does do that, my stop loss will always remain the same as my previous trades, which is always a couple of pips above the top of the order block candle. My target is always a 1 to 2. That's just how I trade them. All right. So what do we have so far? We have, all right, I don't use MA lines solely to trade with. I just like them on the chart just to give me a little bit of indication about what is going on. I would like to see this orange line flip over the green line just so we can see some bullish price action, right? This will let me know if it is possible that we will move upwards to hit my entry, okay? This little green zone, in case you guys are wondering, this was yesterday's trade. We had a nice trade yesterday. What did we look for? We had our previous bullish candle right before a bearish break. Now, this impulsive break is exactly the same as this one. It's not as strong, but it is the same thing because we came down, we took a breather, and we made a lower low. And on a lower time frame, you would be able to see this a lot more clearly. This structure right here was broken through, just like that. This was our impulsive break. This was our order block candle. We retraced nicely into the 50% mark, and then we dropped even further. That gave me a nice 1 to 2 RR. So I'm happy with that. And now we are simply just waiting for price to come up and hit this zone. Now, because we are trading on the 4-hour time frame, we do need to take higher time frames into consideration to make sure our bias is correct, right? We're waiting for price to actually become a bullish sort of trend before we can carry on being bearish, right? So let's scroll this screen right across. This is our daily chart on GU. Now, the zone which we are waiting for price to hit is the 1.22188 price mark right there. And if I had to put a line through it, it would be somewhere here. Now we can see there is already interest in this line because it has been treated before as previous resistance. It has been flipped to support. It is an area of interest. It is exactly where the previous daily candle started, all right? in the sense that where the actual body of the candle began. Okay, so it is an area of interest, and it doesn't seem impossible that price would come back up to collect some liquidity from this zone before moving on south. Okay, it does not seem unreasonable to say that price could just start ranging now between where it is and something like this, bouncing up and down, in which case, if it would do that, I would get stopped out quite quickly. But this is also why I like to say I need to see what the price action looks like. This is why I set up an alert. As soon as price pierces the bottom of this parallel channel, I like to be notified. I will then come back to the chart, check it out, and see whether it is something worth considering. Because if we see volume spike up crazily and very, very strong bullish candles come through, it might not be worth it. What I normally like to see is a slow meander, slowly coming back into the zone, slowly. And if we get that, that would be a perfect entry for me. Whether it hits target or not or works, it doesn't matter. At least I know that I'm following my rules. Guys, you have to follow your rules. You have to follow your rules. I like to tell my students, learn to trade like a robot. Take your emotions out of your head. You don't need them. They are not helpful while you are trading the charts, right? Ignore them. Meditate, do whatever you have to do. I like to meditate before I begin trading. I like to meditate before I look at the charts, because we need to remain neutral and sort of in a stoic frame of mind. That's how we need to trade these. All right. Now this is the 4-hour time frame, so it is a large swing position. It could take time for price to actually reach here. It is impossible to judge time, but today is only Wednesday, so we could only see an entry easily by next week or later in the week, maybe Friday. I doubt we would see one today. If we did, the candles would go against what I am looking for at least, and I would not get into that. So let's keep an eye on this position. Let's see if it is something that does come to fruition. And it should be something that could be quite fun, because it really is a nice entry. It follows my rules according to the MA lines as well. I generally like to see the order block candle and the impulsive candle both sit through the orange moving average line also, which is what we had here. And you can see we had that on this one as well. It wicked through the moving average there quite nicely. So let's see what we get. Let's see what we get. If you guys are interested, check out this one. There was one right here. This is one that I did not take because it is against trend, and we are clearly in a bearish trend. But for those of you that managed to get something like this, check that out. It's almost perfect. This is our order block candle. We broke through structure, making a higher high. We came back perfectly, just touching the 50% mark. I mean, you could have entered further up and you would have had a winning position. So these things happen all over the charts all the time. But there's two reasons why I did not take this. One, because it is counter trend, and two, because the order block candle the order block candle itself did not touch the moving average, only the impulsive candle break did. So I generally like to see them both touch the candle. So we can remove that for now. But just to show you, there are so many ways of entering these candles, guys. You just have to spend time on the charts looking for them. Okay, so I think I have ranted your ears off enough for this morning. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you find these videos helpful, please would you go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, leave us a comment in the comment section. Let me know if this is a strategy that you enjoy trading. Have you ever traded order blocks before? Is it something you are looking to get into? They do work across every single time frame. You just need to develop a system that works for you and works with your personality. It is so important. You might hear it all over, but it's mentioned for a reason. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will be seeing you all in the next one. See you later.